Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lake County. I am Susie Lockwood, and I will be your service leader this morning. And we warmly welcome back Reverend Byrd Tetzlaff as our guest speaker this morning. The title to her message is Legacy, What We Leave Behind. First, we begin with our announcements, and I will begin with an announcement from our president, Russ Littlefield. I will read it. There will be a special meeting for a discussion of a possible land sale at 7:30 p.m. Thursday evening, January 28th. This meeting is aimed at answering some questions raised at the informational meeting on January 10th. Ballots will be sent out during the week following the meeting. An email has been sent out with the Zoom link. The link will be sent out one more time before the meeting. So mark that on your calendars. I will say it again. 7:30 p.m. Thursday evening, January 28th. Thank you. And now I'll begin with a few of our usual announcements. Please remain muted during the service unless called upon to speak. A reminder that the service is being recorded, although we do not record the period of joys and concerns, nor the discussion period following the service. And if you've missed any of the services or would like to share with friends, remember you can find them on our UUCLC YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, search in the search, type in UUCLC office, and there we are. You can also find the links in our weekly bulletin and the communicator. Speaking of the weekly bulletin and the communicator, please make sure you check out all the group activities going on here at UUCLC via Zoom, except for the Tai Chi, which is live and in person. I also suggest you become familiar with the chat box. It's become a very useful tool. You can use it to share a joy and concern if the words are too tender to speak, and then it will be read and shared to the congregation. You can also use the chat box to make a contribution to UUCLC. We will bring more information to you how to donate later in the service. I think we have quite a few announcements, and I had one. It's kind of long, so let me try to make it shorter because I'll be saying it again and again. As a representative of the RAP team, I have an announcement. We have come a long, long way since we began bringing our service to you via Zoom, because who had even heard of Zoom? It was like learning to create, write, direct, and edit a movie. Some of us like to watch some of the YouTube services of other churches to see if we can have any tips to better to make our services better. I don't know how we could ever do that, but we know we have members out there. Oh, some of them that we liked, they're beginning to use the congregation's faces throughout the service. And we thought, we know we have a lot of members out there who have potential to add to the richness and depth to our services, but baby steps. We would like to have some congregants be chalice lighters on Zoom. It's fun, it's easy, and we will show you all that you have to do, but we know who's out there that could be good at this, just here and there, not all the time. Give it a shot. Think about it. If you're interested any Sunday, leave a message in the chat box and somebody, a member of RAP will contact you, or you can contact us directly. That ended up kind of long. I'm so sorry. Does anyone else have any announcements? I know we have a few. Is everybody watching? I know Bernie.
Yes, I am you. It's 3 weeks until Valentine's Day. Yahoo! And you can make yourself do Valentine, or you can find someone else to be your Valentine, but there's 3 weeks to do that. And we're going to have a Valentine's Day bake sale that's going to be a fundraiser for Lake Cares and also for Open Door. It'll be February 14th, that's a Sunday, from 3 to 4:30. Please join us. Bring something to sell and bring some money to buy. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. Thank you. Anyone else? I know Janine has an announcement. Janine?
Just wanted to let everybody know that the Florida Storytelling Festival is on this week. Many of you may, excuse me, have attended it when it's been in Mount Dora live, but this year it's going to be virtual, and you can tune into it and look at the schedule. All of the featured storytellers, and these are mostly professional, will be free. You can just tune in and listen to them. If you want to take any of the workshops, you can sign up for them one at a time, $25 a piece, or you can sign up for the whole program. If you are interested, just go to the Florida Storytelling website and the whole program is there. It will start Thursday night with welcoming. It'll go through Sunday morning. So we invite anybody who gets a kick out of listening to very creative stories to join us.
Oh, that's wonderful. Are you going to be telling a story on virtually?
Maybe there's one time on Saturday afternoon, late afternoon, where you kind of put your name in the hat. And that's
gotcha.
the only thing I'm going to sign up for this year.
Okay, I know you're a great storyteller, Janine, and thank you for the announcement. Are there any more announcements this morning? Okay. Our opening words this morning are, "It is that time and that place" by Jyama Raman. Now is the time to call on the memories of the ancestors who thought they could not walk another step toward freedom, yet they did. It is that time and place to call on the memories of the ancestors who, when the darkness of their lives threatened to take away the hope and light, reached a little deeper and prayed, yes, another prayer. It is that time and place to remember those who came through the long nights to witness another sunrise. It is that time and place to remember the oceans of tears shed to deliver us from this time. To remember the bent knees and bowed backs. To remember the fervent voices asking, begging, and beseeching for loved ones. Time to remember their laughter and joy, though they had far less and little reason for optimism, yet they stayed on the path towards a better day. Time to remember their joy and their laughter, though they had far less, the little reason for optimism again, and yet they stayed on the path towards a better day. Time to hold the steadfast hands and hearts and prayers of the ancestors that have brought us this far. Time to make them proud and show them and ourselves what we are made of. time to show them that their prayers and their sacrifices and lives were not in vain and did not go unnoticed, nor have they been forgotten. Did you not know that this day would come? Did you not know that we would have to change places? Did you not know that just as our ancestors were delivered, that you would also be delivered? Have you not seen the greatness and power of the creative energy in the universe called God, Creator, Spirit of Life, that moves and has its being through human agency? Have you not seen your God in the neighbors' faces, in the homeless, in the battered women, the trafficked child, the undocumented worker, the dispossessed? It is that time and that place to know that it is our turn, that we must leave a legacy for our children, for all children. It is that time and place. We are the ones we've been waiting for. For that, let us be eternally grateful. Amen, and blessed be.
Our chalice lighting this morning. Excuse me.
Sorry. It's okay.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind and turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of
Thank you, Henry. Welcome again. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You are precious. Your work and your life matter. And you are not alone. You are part of we, a great cloud of witnesses, living and dead, who have insisted that this beautiful broken world and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us onward toward greater connections, greater compassion, greater commitment to one another and to Earth. Together, we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call and to make life's work in 1,000 different ways, knowing that we can do no other than bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up again and again to be part of building that world of which we dream, but which we have not yet seen. We are Unitarian Universalists, and all are welcome here. Words of Ashley Horan. Now, okay. Do we have any visitors this morning? I would like to introduce you. If you are visiting us for the first time or have been away, please, and want to say hello, please raise your hand and someone will call on you and ask you to unmute yourself so that you can introduce yourself to us. Or you can type it in chat box if you don't want to raise your hand and let us see your face. Is there any visitors today? I hope. Team, any hands? Anybody coming back that we haven't seen for a while?
None seen.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're there and if you're visiting and you don't want to be seen, that's okay. Welcome.
Bree is raising her hand, Susie.
Who?
Bree, B-R-I, Bree. She's new.
Okay. Bree?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Someone unmute Bree. Oh, you are unmuted. Good morning, Bree.
I'm visiting from South Bend.
Well, welcome. And how long are you
Thank you.
going to be here? Just a
No,
short
I'm
time?
visiting by Zoom.
Oh, what am I talking about? Okay, I thought maybe you were here in town visiting and you found us. Well, welcome. And I hope you come back and visit us. Any other visitors? If you're a visitor and you would wish to see our weekly service bulletin or our monthly newsletter, The Communicator, or if you'd like someone to contact you to learn more about us and Unitarian Universalists, please let us know in the chat box. Byrd?
To light the chalice, I invoke the words of Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Will you please join me in a moment of contemplation on the words of W.E.B. Du Bois? The prayer of our souls is a petition for persistence, not for one good deed or a single thought, but for deed upon deed and thought upon thought, until day calling unto day shall make a life worth living.
You will now recite our congregational covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We are so fortunate to have our UU families support each and every one of us in order to continue our virtual services, to keep our beautiful building protected and ready for our eventual return. We ask for whatever financial support you can provide. There are multiple ways and means to do this, all of which are found in the Sunday Bulletin or on our UUCLC website. Or if you're real quick, you can jot down this information. You can also donate from the chat box today. Thank you.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone.
But most of all, we need those friends we can call our very own.
And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found what we to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive. And we believe that sharing is an answer. A child is born among us, and we feel a special glow.
We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow.
We thrill to hear imagination freely running wild.
We dedicate our minds and heart to the spirit of this child.
And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found the time to be together. And with the grace of age, we share the wonder of youth. And we believe that
friends, they will linger on and on.
And we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that is within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind.
And then we come together here to make sense of what we find.
And we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found the joy of being together. And in our search for peace, we will finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
And now I'll turn it over to Reverend Byrd.
Like many of you, I come from a long line of storytellers. And most of the time, they were talking about their own experiences. I can tell you stories about World War I, the Great Depression, and World War II, just like I was there. So many stories, so vivid. Sometimes I forget I wasn't even born yet. My grandmother, who worked as a nurse in World War I, told a story about the Spanish flu. She said it was like everyone you knew was dying. She told horrifying stories about the Depression, about families that were poor to begin with, and when jobs dried up, the devastation that they faced. Papa told stories about the first time he saw that newfangled invention called an automobile, and how he fell in love with the whole concept right away. Maybe that's why when he and Mother finally made a little money and could afford to have some hobbies, he started buying old cars, and then he would spend months working on them, getting them fixed up to be running in perfect condition. One of my first memories is Papa taking me out for a spin in his 1902 Oldsmobile. It chugged along noisily on the back roads of rural Wisconsin. The 1903 Black was more sophisticated because the hole for the buggy whip in the dashboard was gone by then, but it was just as noisy. The neighborhood dogs would run out to bark. The women who were hanging their laundry out would stop and wave at us. The children would run after us, delighted that they could almost keep up with us. Papa bought a 1909 Maxwell with a mother-in-law seat, and later he added a 1911 Maxwell touring car. He would gather up my friends, and we would often get dressed up in old clothes and be part of some local parade. And then his reputation grew, and the parades weren't all that local. We were in the first 4th of July parade in Milwaukee. Papa ended up with quite a reputation as someone who could fix anything old and mechanical, which is probably how someone heard about him and decided to drop off an old circus calliope to be fixed. Now, for those of you who do not know what a calliope is, most of us who are not outside the circus know it as a calliope. It's that screamingly loud instrument on a circus wagon that hurts your ears and never seems to stop playing. After Papa finished fixing it up, you could hear it all the way across the lake, clear as a bell. Our nearest neighbor was Alice Stout, who, as it turns out, had her birthday on the same day as Papa, April 15th. Papa never really forgave the government for picking his birthday for income tax day. Anyway, the first year they found out about their mutual birthday, Alice sent out invitations to Papa's birthday party without telling him about it. She told everyone to bring expensive gifts and signed Papa's name to the invitations. It worked out beautifully and was all a total surprise to him. And that started a friendly, practical joke war between them every year on their birthday. Both my folks were always interested in travel and in people from other cultures. When I was in high school, we had a young man from Turkey, a foreign exchange student, come to live with us. Suleiman had first lived with another local family, but it hadn't worked out because that family was convinced it was their job to convert him to Christianity. As a devout Muslim, Suleiman was not happy, so they placed him with us. I had reservations because my mother was so very religious herself. I thought it might end up being a repeat performance. But instead, Mother and Suleiman listened to each other. I can remember him in her study as they talked religion together, each of them coming away feeling affirmed and heard. They loved to compare their different beliefs. I remember, for instance, a long discussion they had about the golden rule. Mother's version was, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And Suleiman's version, the Muslim version, was, do not unto others what you would not have them do unto you. Suleiman was delighted when Mother admitted that his version might make a little more sense sometimes. And Suleiman and Papa got along wonderfully. Papa loved having the young man around, and he could introduce him to the wonders of American culture and slang. He taught Suleiman the meaning of phrases like low man on the totem pole and getting caught with your pants down. They just enjoyed each other. One day in the early spring, Suleiman came upon Papa sitting in the living room, looking sad. And he asked what was wrong. And Papa said that Alice and her family had recently moved and went to live in town. And he explained he would miss their yearly jokes on one another. He and Suleiman talked for a while, and then suddenly they started planning. Papa commandeered some large rolls of paper from my art supplies, and he found some paint too. Then he and Suleiman went to work. At one point, Suleiman stopped the proceedings to ask Papa, how old is Alice going to be? 49, came the answer. 49, you sure? 49. The next morning, the morning of the mutual birthday, was a soft, quiet Sunday. We got up early and Papa loaded all of us into the car. The sky was a beautiful baby blue as we drove into town with the circus wagon, complete with calliope, in back of us. Papa drove to Alice's new home and carefully backed up the wagon so that it blocked her driveway in the new suburb where she now lived. Then Papa got out, unhitched the trailer so that the car was free, and started up the Calliope at full volume. It shrieked into the peaceful suburb, waking up the children and dogs who delightedly ran over green lawns to see what was happening. Papa raced to the car and we drove off to the nearest phone booth where he stopped to call the police to complain about the noise. The next morning, the Delavan Enterprise came out with a full-page picture of Alice in her curlers and bathrobe, looking at the wagon, which had a big banner on it saying, "Happy birthday, Alice, 59 today." They're gone now. Mother, Papa, and Alice. But they left behind them a legacy of laughter and friendship. Not bad. Not bad at all. There is an old curse that goes like this. May you live in interesting times. We do live in interesting times right now, and we undoubtedly have a lot more interesting times to come. We will tell stories about this time, and our children and our grandchildren and others around us will repeat those stories. but how we face our now, how we are with each other and with those who think differently than we do. That will make a difference. The behavior we choose will shape our story, our self-image, and maybe even our country. Our stories will tell others what it was like to live here, in this time, in this place. But it will also tell them about us, about who we were and what we valued, and how well we lived those values. In seminary, I was introduced to the concept of overarching values. This is the idea that we have several sets of values that are very important to us. But sometimes those values might come into conflict with each other. And when that happens, we as ethical beings have to choose which is our highest sense of right, which values matter more to us. I have a very simplistic example. I walked into my living room to discover that my 2-year-old grandson had pulled all the books off my lower 2 library shelves. Now, I had 2 competing sets of values there. One set of values is that I really care about my books, and I don't want them bent or torn or ripped up, as he was cheerfully doing. I was kind of appalled. But there was another set of values. Realizing that the boy did not understand what he was doing, there was no malice intended, and that he deserves love and acceptance, even when he's creating a mess. So my choice was to get angry at him, or to grab him up before he could do any more damage, get him to someplace less tempting while I go back to rescue my books. Overarching values. Which value is more important? We actually face that a lot more than you might think. Those who came before us had to make choices too. And some of those choices may not have been the best by today's standards, leaving us with a legacy of insurmountable problems. But sometimes their choices were wise and offered us more than they could ever have dared to dream of. What will future generations wish that we had done? We all want the best for them, but we might not know what the best is because we cannot see the future. We cannot know what the unintended consequences of our actions might be. But I would hope that our legacy would be one that offers them positive opportunities in ways that we can only dream of. We can but do our best to follow our highest sense of right. So be it. As we extinguish the light from the chalice, may we take that light into our hearts, that we may be a light in the corner, our corner of the world. I believe now we do the weave, Susie.
We do the weave. I was waiting for my cue. Thank you. I know you didn't want the screen there. Okay, everyone. This is the time. We all know what to do in church. We held hands as we sang. So reach out to your neighbor as if they were there, as if you can feel the warmth of the hand that you're holding. And let's weave. Let's sing weave. Okay. I guess I need.
Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together. Weave us together, together in love.
Wonderful. Thank you. And now